The Nerd World Order has spoken. You guys loved my top 10 most valuable NECA TMNT figures, and it's clear that TMNT needs some more big nerdy love. And seeing that top 10 videos are pretty much the thing I do best around here, I think it's time for the top 10 best TMNT figures ever. What's up, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. Together we are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. Here we are, it's time for another Turtles video. I'm excited, you're probably excited. Get on the nostalgia bus, I'll be your bus driver. But first, we gotta talk about some rules and how I put this list together. This list is based off of the NECA TMNT toy line. Any of their various sublines are fair game. Video games, movies, cartoons, comics, anything else I'm not thinking of. So there's no vintage stuff in here, is what I'm basically saying. To be clear, everyone on this countdown and where they place is solely my opinion, man. No vote was done, I didn't consult the NWO. This is just how I feel, which means it can't be wrong. With that out of the way, I think it's time. Watch is broken, but it's time to go to the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Rocksteady, who was released in 2019 in a 2-pack with Bebop. There are several versions of this fella. They got him as a pirate, they got him in a bunny suit. We recently got a more machine than man machine looking one. So yeah, there's a lot, but this is like classic Rocksteady. If I remember correctly, Rocksteady was created just for the cartoon and later came into the comic books. And I've always loved this character and his design. He's one of the first figures I got when this line came out back in '88. The design on this figure is amazing. I love the cell shading and how they kind of make it look more like lines than shading, and it just has that cartoony look and it's done so well. Also love the fact that he's got his little pop belly sticking out. I can emphasize with that, but where's his hat? I thought Rocksteady had a hat. That's okay, NECA, I forgive you. Rocksteady was created by David Wise, who was the writer for the animated series, and his first appearance in a comic was actually in TMNT Adventures #1 back in 1988. Currently, you can pick up this 2-pack for about $110, but if you look and play the auction game, you can find Rocksteady loose for anywhere between like $35 to $50. Coming in at number 9 is Razar, who was released in 2020. He was a NECA store exclusive and came out in a 2-pack with his fellow friend, I guess, Tokka. Despite being babies, I love both Tokka and Razar. TMNT Secret of the Use was really at the height of my Turtles fandom, and even though as an adult I can tell you that obviously the first movie is 10 times better, as a kid I think I like Secret of the Use more. NECA absolutely nailed this figure. Like, they did such a good job. The way the fur is molded on there and just looks cool. The hinged mouth where the inside of the mouth has like that shine so it looks like it's nasty and wet and gross. Oh man, you guys killed it on this fella. Even though they only said a few actual words, both Tokka and Razar were voiced by Frank Welker in the Turtles movie. He also voiced such other awesome characters as Megatron and Fred Jones on Scooby-Doo, which I didn't even know Fred had a last name. There is a cartoon version of this releasing soon, and I'm super excited for that because we literally only got them in the cartoon in a single episode, so the fact that we get those figures makes me happy. These are some of the harder figures to come by, even though they have a re-release coming soon. If you need them right now, it's going to cost you about $157 for the 2-pack, but if you want to try to find them loose, you might be able to find them, but there's literally no comps. Coming in at number 8 is the cartoon Casey Jones. This was released in 2020. This was one of those dreaded Target exclusives, and he came with a slashed up foot soldier. Now, I'm a longtime fan of the Casey Jones animated design with that vibrant blue on his vest that contrasts with the creepy hockey mask, and great job on the little midriff shirt that's very 1980s, well, except for Ezekiel Elliott, who's still doing it. Casey Jones actually first appeared in Me, Myself, and Irene starring Jim Carrey. What's that? Oh, my bad. Strike that. Casey Jones actually first appeared in Me, Myself, and I, which was a solo Raphael comic back in 1985. This is another super expensive one, about $153 for the 2-pack, but you can find Casey loose for about $85 to $90 if you look really, really hard. Coming in at number 7 is the cartoon Splinter, which was released in 2020, was once again a Target exclusive, and he came with Baxter Stockman as a fly, not human Baxter. Longtime viewers of the channel knew that he was going to be on here for one thing only. Soft goods. And yeah, of course I love those soft goods, but there's other things great about him too. The cell shading. the texture. The little rat snout looks so good. He comes with a little rat and book accessories, and you guys also know I got daddy issues. I miss my dad. So yeah, Splinter's kind of like a surrogate dad, I guess. Okay. That's weird. In most incarnations, Splinter is either a reincarnated martial artist or a mutated rat that was the pet of a martial artist known as Hamato Yoshi. My favorite incarnation, though, is in the IDW comic that's been running for probably like 10 years now, where he's reincarnated from feudal Japan. If you're a Turtles fan and you haven't read this, like, comment below or something, let me know so I can make sure you go read this now. The 2-pack for Splinter will cost you about $56, which is basically retail. If you want to get just him and skip out on Baxter, you can find him on eBay for about $40 loose. Coming in at number 6 on my best of TMNT list is Bebop, released in 2019 in a 2-pack with the aforementioned Rocksteady. Just like Bebop, he was originally created for the cartoon and the toy line and is part of the original 10 figures released by Playmates. The details on this figure are awesome, which is why I love him. The snout, the change, the shells on his shoulder pads, he just looks great. And frankly, I have an affinity for both him and Rocksteady because the hunt for these two figures in particular was brutal. Like, I probably went on over 100 Target trips to get these guys, and I ended up finding them early in the pandemic on a toilet paper run. How's that happen? Bebop's currently going for $111 if you want to get him and Rocksteady together, or you can pick him up loose for about $50 to $55. Coming in at number 5 is Tokka, who is the other half of the 2-pack with the aforementioned Razar and was again part of a NECA store online exclusive back in 2020. The sculpt on this is incredible. It brings you right into the movie. Also incredible is the accessories that both him and Razar come with. I particularly love the ceremonial pre-fight donuts, and if only they came out of the box. I haven't tried, so you can put him in that hinged jaw and he could eat them. I gotta go watch Secret of the Use. I'll be right back. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll do it later. By the way, be careful holding this fella. The spikes on his back, the talons on his feet and his hands, they're pretty sharp. Like, I'm pretty sure if I, played catch with that guy, I'd draw blood. If you didn't know, Tokka and Razar actually replaced Bebop and Rocksteady in the Turtles movie. According to CBR.com, the problem was that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were against adding Bebop and Rocksteady due to licensing issues. Despite being a huge part of the lore now, Bebop and Rocksteady were designed by Laird while negotiating the action figure deal with Playmates, and their origins were written by David Wise just for the animated show. I do wish we could have saw a Jim Henson Muppet version of Bebop and Rocksteady in those movies, though. That would have been pretty cool. You can pick up this 2-pack currently for $157, but just wait, they are going on sale again soon at NECA.com. Coming in at number 4 is the Rat King. He was released in 2020, was a Target exclusive, and came in a 2-pack with Vernon Fenwick, who is the Channel 6 cameraman. I can't explain why I love this figure so much. It's probably surprising that he's on the list, but I guess it's like the sculpt and the paint, they're so on point with the cartoon, and the rats that you can pose all over him are pretty awesome. For a secondary character, they really put a lot of love into designing him, and as a human character, sometimes it's hard to make them pop as an action figure. But they did that with the cell shading here, and yeah, he just pops. The Rat King's first appearance was in Tales of TMNT number 4 back in 1988. He can actually be picked up as part of that 2-pack for around retail, but if you just want to get the Rat King, you can get him for about $35 to $40. Coming in at number 3 is the Shredder. He was released in 2020 as a standalone figure that was a GameStop exclusive. There is so much to love about this figure, but one negative I can point out is that he cannot actually be used as a can opener, nor is all that hardware on him good for making coleslaw. Now, all jokes aside, there really is a ton to love here. The removable face mask that you can take off to see the scar that Splinter gave him, the removable shiny cape, the extra hands that have weapons on them, and of course the extra knife to throw at Splinter so Splinter can say that when he dies it'll be without honor. Ironically, Eastman and Laird did not want him to be in the second Turtles movie, but they obviously lost that battle. To pick up this Shredder, it's going to cost you about 41 clams, which isn't too bad for such an amazing figure. Coming in at number 2 is the Raphael in Disguise. This was released in 2020, it was a Walmart exclusive, and it came with a masked Casey Jones in a 2-pack. I have always loved the trench coat turtle look. As a child, I remember trying to get my mom to buy me a trench coat and hat so I could do it as like a Halloween costume, and of course you can never find a trench coat in kid sizes, but still, I love it. And aside from just the nostalgia of the whole look, soft goods. Like, it's like getting 2 figures in one. Like, if you can get that coat off of him and back on, you got 2 different Raphael figures. Plus, you can use the hat on Ben Grimm and he can be in disguise, well, just from the neck up. This is from the scene early in the movie where Raphael stops a couple of punks from stealing a purse, then tries to stop Casey Jones from beating them up even further, and then they get into their own fight, while of course talking trash the entire time. You can currently pick this up for about $73. Don't even bother trying to find them loose, because for $73, if you can get both of them, because that Casey's awesome too, do it. All right, number 1. Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be all 4 turtles? Is it gonna be a cartoon shredder? Krang? Who's to say? Well, I guess I'm to say. Let's do it. Coming in at number 1 is, of course, April O'Neil. Released in 2020, a Target exclusive that came in a 2-pack with a bashed foot soldier. She is gorgeous. I love the cell shading, the coy smile, the news camera. This is my true first love. She was both classy and lovely for a cartoon, I guess. She's currently going for an insane $200 as a 2-pack, and if you want to get her loose, it's still going to cost you $90 to $100. This one is begging for a re-release, NECA. Do you hear me? Begging! Talking about April, talking about the Ninja Turtles, it makes me reminisce about the old days and just super nostalgic. Kind of like in this video here, where I recount my 300-mile crazy road trip to find the rare Count Dooku at the 2002 Star Wars Midnight Madness event. It's a hell of a tale. Go check it out. And remember, you gotta get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.